In 1,000 feet, use the right 2 lanes to keep right.
Hey friends, it's Friday, August 6, 2021. It's time to prepare to go there. My name is Peter. It's been so much fun going on this coaching journey with you. Really an invitation to friends and leaders alike who want to really stay focused practically on the future and then figure out how they're going to lead themselves there day by day. And we are on round 35, which is pretty exciting. I can kind of feel 50 coming up pretty soon. So that's going to be a big deal day for sure. We got to celebrate it. But I'm celebrating you because you want to lead yourself in a way that others want to follow. You are committed to figuring out the mindsets and the tactics that are worth repeating, that are worth reproducing. And thank you so much for being on this coaching journey. Many of you, we already go way back. And so it's a privilege that you want to just keep listening and keep following along with just my life and progress and the things that we are working on together. Today is Future Friday. So it's dedicated to you, the future friends that are putting all of this into action, and the email community is growing. I'm really encouraged about the people who are doing that with us. And we're going to get into some of your questions later on today. In fact, I really don't have any content on Fridays. I just show up with whatever I'm thinking about and hopefully want to dialogue with you on whatever you're thinking about. But just for the sake of introduction, I want to welcome you again to the Future Frontier, where life is always exciting and inviting. And I want to kind of give you the why behind this project. I realize that most people don't know how to lead others into a better future simply because they don't know how to lead themselves there first. And what happens is you have really well-meaning people that are talking about things and goals and destinations and projects and missions and visions that they have never personally experienced. And I'm all for pioneering the unprecedented, but you have to live in such a way that you are the proof of concept. I don't think leaders just lean towards the future. I think they come back from a better future and they say, I've been there. I'm going to show you how to get back. I'm, with or without you, this is the direction I'm going to live and lead my life. Who's coming with me. And I think self-leadership really is the conversation we need to be having. It's where we live. It's where we are working every single day. And I have so many great friends that I get to keep up with on social media, particularly Instagram these days. And I'm seeing you every single day. You're posting your progress. You're posting your big days, your big decisions. And it's so fun just to see what you are doing. You're navigating your life in a way that is filled with integrity and intentionality. And so, again, you guys, you gals inspire me. So self-leadership, it is so important because that's how we lead ourselves, lead others, and then lead through others. And I'm not just talking about delegation on that last piece. I mean, self-leadership, servant leadership, and then generational leadership. And I hope that, there will be other places and spaces where we can have those conversations. We can have that conversation about, servant leadership and entrepreneurship. My wife, Sarah Joy, and I have a project we're working on called Pioneer People. And I'm so grateful for her because this was kind of a dream that I've been sharing for a while. And then she said, I'm getting behind it. Let's run with it together. So I know it's going to be a success now. And then we got this whole other space, this whole other conversation for generational leadership and really thinking about movements and how we can kind of weigh in and invest into the future. So there's so many fun things that we could talk about, but for me, I have to stay grounded because I'm that dude, man. I'm going to drop everything and take field trips to the future. I'm that guy who wants to pray, who wants to dream, who wants to plan, who wants to, really go for it. But if I'm not aware, I'll actually be satisfied with just seeing the future instead of seizing the opportunity to create the future. And I learned through a lot of, a lot of friends, a lot of team members being patient with me. I learned that, man, this is for real. I'm not playing games. I really do want to go the distance and make a difference. But if I'm going to do that, I have to focus on self-leadership. And I don't know what it was. It was just kind of like a mindset shift. It was like, oh, duh. Yeah, this is obvious. I have to lead myself before I lead other people. And I'm all for leading other people and taking on new territories with your teams. But this is the piece, this is kind of the missing piece of the puzzle that I needed. And this is what I want to empower the emerging leaders with. If you are 30 and under, man, this is the gift I would give you. It would be preparation. It would be self-leadership. It would be the encouragement to keep going, keep growing when it is unnoticed, when it feels so difficult and yet, unrecognized. It matters. What you're doing today matters. The everyday work you're putting in is valuable, and keep going. You're amazing. You inspire me. And I mean, if you're in Gen Z, you kind of scare me already because you're so powerful and fierce. And so I just kind of want to be friends with a few Gen Z leaders because y'all are amazing. Obviously, my millennials, what up? I know you and I'm with you. But there's so many other generations that we have to support and be a part of. It really does take all of us to influence the future together. I'm having fun rambling. I'm unscripted. It's Future Friday. Prepare to Go There is a ongoing coaching journey where we're going to keep showing up day after day, and we're going to focus practically on your future. And then we're going to figure out, how do you lead yourself there tactically day by day? And when I say focus, I'm not talking about daydreaming about, the woulda, coulda, shouldas. I'm talking about really personalizing what is possible and then committing to go for it day by day. Actually, the quote I'm going to share with you for today kind of speaks into that. But if this resonates with you, I want to recruit you. Come on this coaching journey with us. Be a part of this daily intention to stay focused practically, to lead ourselves day by day, to not just try to reach a destination, but to enjoy the journey while we're at it. I call the email community the Future Friends, and I want you to be a part of it. And I have a thank you gift when you do. It's a free fail-proof planning guide. It's a PDF that will help you work through the mindset and the skill sets to think more agile and less fragile about the future. For whatever reason, whenever you're adulting, you kind of feel allergic to commitment, and you don't want to box yourself in. You don't want to have anything tying you down. And so it's fun to go with the flow. In fact, it seems better, right? Just to kind of improvise every day. But it's really important that you're intentional, that you're being proactive and not reactive. And so that's why we need to embrace a proven step-by-step process that can help us prepare and plan effectively. So that way we are making the most of our time. We're not wasting time, we're redeeming time. And so that's what this PDF is going to do for you. Let's get into the future, right? The Future Friday. I'm challenging you. If you are a part of this community, you're a part of this tribe, so to speak. You're in the Future Friends. You're like, what do I do? How do I get started? Well, one, get on the email list, because that's where you're going to get all of the coaching content for the week sent to you in a bundle. Like today, the email's going out from everything that we've gone through this week, tactics to win at home. And then Future Friends are also jumping on these coaching conversations. Future Friends are going to get the incentives and the invitations to the coaching courses and the coaching moments that are coming up real soon. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been kind of leaking and sneaking it in, but I am working on 2 big projects specifically for the Future Friends, and that's all I will say for now. But if you push a little bit more, then I might leak what I'm working on for you. But it's going to be really big, and it's taken me, I would say, at least 5 years, maybe more, to really put this together, and it's changed my life, and that's why I got to share it with as many friends and leaders as possible. But Future Friday is where we get to kind of come together, and you're saying, where do I get started? If you've already downloaded the fail-proof planning guide, get after that and work on that. And really what that will lead you into is setting up a weekly planning session, And that is such a breath of fresh air, man. If you have felt overwhelmed, if you have felt overloaded, a weekly planning session is going to be just what you need. But, showing up to that weekly planning session, you may sit down and be like, oh, dang, now I have to look at my craziness. I have to look at all of this decision fatigue. Where do I go from there? And so once you kind of work on that exercise and you feel better, and I have a blog on peterbirchfield.com called 1 Hour In, 1 Week Out. And really, there is a simple, personalized way where you can have a 1 hour weekly planning session, and it will give you all of the traction you need to make the most of your week. And so that's, I'm kind of giving you some action steps into the Future Friends. Join the email community, jump on these coaching conversations, work through the fail-proof planning guide, work on your weekly planning session. And then if you really if you're deep diving into this, you're going to take the challenge and schedule a Future Friday. Dun, dun, dun. A Future Friday is one of my funnest tools, strategies that I get to share with y'all, because a Future Friday, whether it is on a Friday or not, is a dedicated time for you to stay focused on your future. And I'm going to revisit this. This is still relatively new material for our online community. And so I don't want to assume that everybody's heard this or that everybody's getting it down. It really does take a few times to stick. And I know that repetition becomes your reputation. So that's why I'm willing to go for this. But I'm gonna read a quote to kind of get us started on Future Friday. It's from this book. I have not read it. I am literally in chapter 1 of it. I just finished this book, which was awesome. We had some intentional time away. My wife, Sarah Joy, and I were going with friends. We went to Florida and had a lot of fun, just kind of unplugging, going analog, natural, enjoying the river. And we canoed, we floated. My wife did a YouTube video about that. If you're interested in seeing random people on vacation, then go for it. And during that time, we would hang out together and then we would kind of separate and do whatever. So one of those fun things I don't do a ton is reading. I do read regularly, but not like binge-worthy reading, like the way you would, go through a season or something on some sort of streaming platform. Well, I wanted to read. So I picked up this book. It's called Poverty, Riches, and Wealth by Chris Valentin. It was a really good book, really helpful. Just kind of working through that. And now, since then, like I was kind of in a reading drought, to be transparent. I was still reading in a devotional sense. I was reading my Bible. I love that. I'm always doing that. I'm reading emails and blogs, listening to podcasts, audiobooks, whatever. But to really go back to like an offline, off limits reading experience, it's almost kind of like a luxury nowadays, right? Which is kind of cool. So the reason I bring that up is because I tried this out and I started reading this for my vacation and I never stopped. In fact, I've been reading more often, better, stronger. And since then, it's like books have found out that Peter is reading again, and they are swarming to get me. They are like, books are flying off the shelf to come find me. And I did not ask for this, but they are coming at me in droves. My wife has been fueling this reading renaissance. And she goes, hey, there's a thrift store. Let's go check it out and see if we can find some books. Well, of course, the book sale is like $12 for $1. So we've been getting so many books. It's been wonderful. And so this is one of those books that I found. I'm not recommending it per se, but reading is what I'm talking about today. And so this quote jumped out at me. It is crazy. Now you're going to see the summary there, but I'm going to read this little paragraph blurb. It says, we look to the future to know what to do in the present. Oh, that is so good. Here's what he means. We look to the future. We discover it is already here. That's like the quote from The Economist. I'll have to remember their name. He said, the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. I think it was maybe William Gibbons, but I may be wrong. We discover it's already here. It has already happened. Yes, we look to the future so we know what to do in the present. The purpose of looking ahead is not to know what to do tomorrow or even what one might do next year, but to know what to do today. We look forward to know what to do in the present. Whoo, man, if that is not a plug for the future friends, if that is not like a t-shirt in the making for our community, I don't know what is. What an awesome insight. We look to the future to know what to do in the present. What are you working towards? What are you investing into? Where are you going? If you don't know where you're going, it doesn't matter, right? That's the other quote, I think, from the Cheshire Cat. And in this book, the author was talking about the difference between a past present mindset and a future present mindset. In other words, you're dreaming ahead, you're identifying with the future, and you're letting the future influence what you do in the present, versus where a lot of people live, they let their past determine their present. They let the triumphs or the trauma of where they've been influence who they are and how they think and how they lead their life. And so having that sense of identity, purpose, mission, values, thinking about the long game. And I'm not even just talking about your life in years. I mean, like the eternal perspective, thinking about that high calling that we can have in Christ Jesus, and thinking about what's important in the long run, and then letting the future influence what we do today. We look to the future to know what to do in the present. You know what? That motivates two things in me. Number one, it motivates urgency. And number two, it motivates expectancy. And so hopefully we're having a healthy balance of both, and we're letting that drive us forward. So for real, what are you working towards, and how is it going? In fact, if you are watching right now, I would love to see you in the chat. Go ahead and say hi. Tell me where you're watching from. And I got a question for you. Here we go. How are you keeping the future on your front burner? How are you keeping the future on your front burner? That's a good question. Let me know, how is it going? In fact, you could rate yourself. A 1 is not too good. A 5 is like you're feeling alive, you're awesome, you're thriving, you're crushing it. Let me see some of your interaction, and we'll get ready to answer some of your questions as well. But I want to revisit the Future Fridays. What is it all about? What are the steps we take to do it? So again, Future Friday is dedicated time in the week that helps us keep the future on the front burner. And you can approach Future Friday as a menu of 4 options, or you can do it like I do it. And I'm not saying that like I'm doing it this way, you have to do it this way too, but I'm saying, or you could look at it more like a checklist and kind of work through your day with these 4 checkpoints in mind. Here they are again. Before you have a Future Friday, you have to have a Finish Friday. You have to get your job done. You have to finish your regular work. You have to do the thing you're responsible for. And that's exciting. That's fulfilling. That's rewarding. I'm not saying you're daydreaming, you're trying to check out. I'm saying like you do a great job and you finish, and you have to have a finish line for your week. For me, Fridays are my off day, so I can, think of Friday really like a finish line. Some people, they don't have that in this way. So you have to set your own schedule, your own pace, but you have to define what done means. Otherwise, you are going to fall into burnout and overwork because there's no hard lines, there's no definition, and you really don't know what done looks like or feels like. You're just kind of in this constant work-life mode where it's not work-life balance. It's just work is your life. And I really encourage you to find those resets, to find those times to unplug, do a little bit every day, do a little bit more every week, do a lot every month, do a lot more every year. Do you know what I mean? Like, unplug a little bit every day. That might be in the morning or the evening. Unplug a little bit more, not just like 30 minutes or an hour, but unplug like a few hours or a day every week. Unplug for maybe a weekend every month. You're like, man, that's unrealistic, but put it in your future and let's start working towards it now. And then have like vacations and time away, holidays, whatever you want to call it, every year. And then I know some people, and they have even bigger off time, even bigger time away. In our context, they would call it a sabbatical. Sometimes they can have a negative connotation. Sometimes they can have a positive connotation. In this sense, I would call it more positive or more neutral. But all I'm saying is having intentional time away to rest, to say you're finished. I think that's so inspiring. You know, the Lord didn't rest because he was tired. He rested because he was finished. So we have to practice a finishing lifestyle. We have to be good finishers. And I think it's wonderful that we get so many opportunities to practice this. We have to practice finishing our work, practice finishing our week, practice finishing our commitments. And so a finish Friday is first on the list. Did you actually complete your work? And you say, what do you do if you didn't? You got to keep working. You got to get it done. You got to power through. And once you do finish, even if there's more work to do, because you have created healthy boundaries, then you now are practicing how to step over your work instead of slipping into overwork. Then after you have crossed the finish line and you can actually, kind of pivot and focus, here we go into the second part. Once you finish, now you have a focus Friday. I'll be honest, let me rephrase, I'm being transparent and showing you I am having focus Fridays just as much as I am having future Fridays. I don't always get to a future Friday. Today it was and is a focus Friday. That's because our church community is doing a scheduled event, a house of prayer night. And so I'm focused on that. I'm so excited about that. I've been looking forward to this for a few weeks now. So of course it's game day. I'm finishing this. I'm going back into that. I've been thinking and prepping and processing it all week, all day. So it's Focus Friday. I know that. I'm okay with that. Now, what that means for me is I'm going to have to find another time to take a field trip to the future. Because if I don't get away, then I cannot stay ahead. And that's me. But I think that is a indispensable principle for all of us. If you want to pioneer, you have to get clear. So Focus Friday is where there is a project, there's a commitment, there's an event, there's something that is valuable in your eyes that needs your focus. And you have to guard your Friday. If it's a Focus Friday, it is a mission critical checkpoint on your calendar. You're not going to drop it. You're not going to get distracted, and you're not going to get interference. You have to fight for that focus. You have to, even at times, go offline, go off limits. You have to focus on a project. I have found that Future Fridays are a great time to work on my monthly or my quarterly goals. Monthly, quarterly goals. Things that I put out there in the future, but I'm kind of wondering where they fit in the natural rhythm of my routines. And to be honest, I don't think they do, but a Future Friday gives me a little bit more time, a little bit of a bigger space for me to fit in a bigger goal. So Focus Friday is the next piece. Might be a project. For me, the Focus Fridays, rather, I've set goals for prepare to go there. I've told you I'm working on these coaching projects. So I have to chunk that down, and I have to keep showing up as often as possible, but for sure in that designated time and space on the calendar on Fridays. And that's me, and I'm using that as a case study for you. So what are you focused on? What goals, what projects, what events, what commitments, what passions, side hustles are you pushing through? And there's like a whole nother conversation about identifying all of this, which is really fun. But then you can add in or level up to a future Friday. And that's what I mean. This is where you actually, you really, really go offline, off limits, and you take a field trip to your future. You take a field trip and you are learning, you are thinking, you are strategizing, you are praying, you are going for it, man. You are not going to let the, mundane or the maintenance mode be the focus. You say, man, I'm going to give myself over to a preparation process. I got to prepare. I have to be thinking about what's on the horizon. I want to keep looking up, keep looking out. I want to keep dreaming, keep growing, keep pushing forward. And a Future Friday lets you do that. It is that time that you can get away. Most of the time, people have these kind of moments once a year. I would say most people do what I'm referring to, whether it's planning, goal setting, strategizing, working on their life, not just, going through the motions in their life. They do this once a year. They do it for the quote New Year's resolutions. I want to do it as often as possible. I mean, if I feel so motivated once a year, why not keep that up? There's a legendary leader, Craig Rochelle. He says, successful people do consistently what average people do occasionally. So, most people, they're doing this Future Friday sort of exercise once a year. New Year's resolutions, goal setting, whatever. Maybe they're doing this once a quarter. And that's great. And you still need those mountaintop moments where you can, get some fresh perspective. You can get a breather. You get inspiration. You get insight when you're on site. I love all that. But you have to have a rhythm of leaning forward. And a Future Friday really lets you do that. Future Friday could be on different levels. Obviously you can do the annual planning or the quarter or the month or week, whatever. But Future Friday is always about looking forward, leaning forward, and leading yourself into the future. And then finally, this is kind of the bonus round. If you've done all three, and I actually go, I want a 4 for 4 kind of Friday. I want to knock my finish line. I want to focus. I want the future stuff. And then bonus round is I get to help other friends work on their future too. And it is so easy. It is so rewarding. I highly encourage each and all of you to have a few intentional conversations with your future friends that will help you stay focused on your future. And there's different iterations of this. One of the easiest is right here. And I got this. That's pretty cool, right? You can just right here, just do a voice message, send it out, and they respond. You go back and forth. I do that quite a bit. Future friends, or you can be on the phone. Why did I just use my hand? You can be on the phone. You can be doing some sort of video chat. You can meet up for coffee. If you can pull together a few future friends and really have like a mastermind moment. And that is next level. That's a lot of fun. But you need to have like a very robust rhythm of relational investment. And you got to be hanging out with your friends and not just like, kicking it, like people that enjoy this kind of conversation. They love putting in the work. They love talking strategy and tactics, whether it's lifestyle or whether it's business or whether it's family or whatever it is. Like they are all about growing their carrying capacity for the sake of serving others and living purposefully and having mission, going the long haul with integrity and intentionality. So that is the deep dive review of Future Fridays. Let me know again. I want to see some more. How are you keeping the future on your front burner? How is Future Friday going for you? I'm going to look right now to see if any more questions came in. Oh, beautiful. We have quite a few. So give me just a second. Let me process. All right, wonderful. So I have a question about how to plan better. I think I pretty much nailed that with the Future Fridays. What do you do if working out isn't working out? That's good. That could actually be like a whole conversation. Let me see what else. In your opinion, should you quit your job and do your dream full time, or should you keep your day job and do your dream part time until it pays off? Who are some people you're learning from right now? How do you keep yourself excited about the future when the world seems scary? Man, that's really good. How do I go from being a regular employee to being a leader? And what are the life skills that everybody needs to have for the future? Wow, you all inspire me. My future friends are amazing. All right, so we kind of hit the first one. The second one is, what do you do when working out isn't working out? I don't know if this is prompted by the coaching conversation we just had about tactics for working out at home, or if you just need to get into that conversation and keep talking through that. But when working out isn't working out, you have to jolt your routine. You have to get assertive, aggressive. You have to like be violent in the sense of, if I keep approaching this casually, I'm going to lose time. I'm going to lose momentum. I'm going to lose motivation. This thing, it's like, if you let your yard go for a while and grass starts getting, over your shins, over your knees, and then weeds start picking up, and then everything starts to get crazy. There is some sort of tipping point when maintenance begins to master you and not the other way around. And so if working out isn't working out, I would say you need to really bust it and have one successful workout, and do whatever you got to do to get just one win on the board, and get a friend involved, get some resources from the internet or YouTube. Just try it, throw yourself into it, and don't make your score don't grade yourself based on committing for a long time. Just get some proof of concept. It was like, I have a friend and he's been waking up, but he wants, thankfully, he's been waking up early, but he wants to wake up earlier. And I mean, he wanted to go like super early. And I said, dude, that's amazing, but don't overcommit. Don't overcommit to yourself. Over deliver with one time. get proof of concept, feel that initial momentum, get that internal motivation, and then fuel your focus. Say, man, I got it. I feel it. This was helpful. How do I keep this up? And I think you got to jolt your routine, and you got to come back again and again and build off of that success. All right. Hope that helps. Feel free. I am wide open for questions in this coaching category. All right. In your opinion, should you quit your job and do your dream full time, or should you keep your day job and do your dream? The short answer is, if you're not ready, then you can't. It's not a matter of if you have enough motivation, or if you are good, or if it's right or wrong. Like, if you're not ready to launch, then don't limp. You don't want to limp from one place to another. You want to really launch well. And so I would just say, stay steady and get ready. Stay steady, get ready. That's my opinion, but I feel like I've been walking through that, and I'm very, very thankful, because the last thing you want to do is leave anything on the wrong terms, with the wrong motive, with, quote, bad blood. I mean, what is that? We're so much better than that. You're going to tell me all this time you've been investing in these relationships, that doesn't count, that doesn't mean something? No, it does. So keep serving people relationally, keep, growing your carrying capacity, keep working on yourself, regain that sense of identity and empowerment. And I promise you, time is your ally. Time is your partner. There's this is such left field, but in the, I'll pass. I got to keep moving. All right. So who are some people you are learning from right now? Man, that is a good question. Who am I learning from? Honestly, let me think. This is going to sound kind of obvious. I'm learning a lot from my parents and Sarah Joy's parents. I'm learning from another generation. I'm learning so much. I'm inspired by them. I'm motivated by them. I'm picking up different things from different people. But I've been in a season of generations and loving different generations, serving, supporting, learning how to, strengthen and encourage other generations. And so a lot of my, quote, mentors are going to be older, or they're already, in glory, so to speak. But Craig Rochelle is awesome. I already referenced him, legendary leader. He has a leadership podcast, which is really good. And he gave us, all of us, a shout out. If you didn't know, he did a whole podcast on self-leadership, which is the flagship of Prepare to Go There. So I feel like he's been listening in. No, I'm joking. But it's definitely a conversation that needs to be unpacked in the long form. So if you're looking for people, for mentors or people to grow from, I'm all about collaboration. I think that's one thing that my generation is doing really well at, collaboration. But I need to download decades and days. I don't have enough time to go through all of the avenues, all of the steps. So I really need to be a student of history. I need to learn from other people's example, either what to do or what not to do. And I think there's just a lot of value in seeing people that are a few years, even a few decades ahead of you, because you can kind of already see how things have gone, and it's much easier and faster to reverse engineer their choices, their habits, because you already see where it's led them to. And so being open to, people older than you and building relationship with them, not just kind of studying them more clinically, but really building relationships that are deep and meaningful and fulfilling. That's wonderful. In fact, funny story, when I was in high school, one of the people I hung out with a lot during lunch was the vice principal at the high school. And it wasn't because I was in trouble. It was because, I don't know, he was just a huge, muscular guy. And I don't know, I think it was, I can't even describe it, but I had such a fun time walking over, in the cafeteria. I grew up in a small town with a small high school. And so I'd go over into the corner and I'd talk to the the vice principal there. And it was so good. I think we were just talking about life, talking about values, talking about leadership. And that was in high school, so I think I've always kind of been drawn to the older generation. It's so important, guys, so important. All right. How do you keep yourself excited about the future when the world can seem scary? That's a good point. There is a quote, a verse, whatever you want to call it. It says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. And it's not when the thing you're wanting or the thing you're waiting on doesn't happen. It's when you literally defer hoping. You literally stop hoping. It is always the right time to hope. You never need new evidence to hope. I'm speaking from a Christian worldview. So as a Jesus follower, I always have hope. I have hope in Jesus. He is the ultimate hope. So I approach it a little different than I think other people would, because I have this worldview and this framework that is so robust, so rock solid. And I know that would just trip a lot of people out to even hear that. But man, I'm telling you, I got my life built on a rock of ages, and this thing is not budging. So I'm not confident in what will happen or not happen, but I'm very confident in that foundation. And so I always have hope. And I think you have to find that hope, and you have to get that hope for yourself. But practically, I think that does speak to, making moves, making big decisions. Maybe you're talking through family. You're talking about investments or business opportunities and real estate and all that stuff. And I would just say, if you let the uncontrollables control you, then something's wrong. Don't let the uncontrollables, the things you cannot control, the things you will never control, don't let that get in the way of what you can control. And I think that is a sense of helplessness. When you are hopeless, you feel helpless, and vice versa. When you allow helplessness to seep in and creep into your life, then hopelessness will grow there. So don't do it. And there have been people, they have survived and powered through so much harsher conditions, so much harder times. And we need to look to those generations, kind of going back to my first point about just learning from not just the past, but from proven people. And if you are not working on something, I would ask you, where's your hope? Because hope, think about this. I'm sorry. I know it's Future Friday. I'm not really scripted. So whatever's in you is going to come out. And so I'm just going to have like a lot of Bible references and preaching and all that stuff. But think of Noah, guys. This story, Noah and building this ark. He's got Nephilim. It's like everything people are imagining is evil, inhumane. It's like messing up the environment. It's human violence to the max. I mean, that is so truly wicked, crazy times. And what is he doing? He's still building something, and the arc is actually, it's not an escape. The arc is the ultimate statement of hope. Man, it's hope. So I would say get your hope up, get your hopes up, and be working with the right motive. And you might even have to really, I talk about how do you stay focused in the fog, in the forest. So in this case, you're in the fog. You're like, I can't even see what's going to happen next. I don't even know if we should even take that next step, that next stage. You may have promises. You may have dreams. You may have these plans. You're like, I don't know how that's going to pan out. When you're in the fog, you have to zoom in. When you're in the forest, you have to zoom out. So when you're in the fog and you're kind of uptight about what's going on around you, you better like zoom in. You got to personalize everything you're doing and say, I'm not going to look out there. I'm going to start right here. I can control this. I can work on this. I can grow this. I can empower myself. And so I'm going to step up, and I'm not going to be a burden. I'm going to be a strength. I'm not going to be in fear. I'm going to walk in confidence. And you keep doing what you know to do. Even if you're just showing up day by day, working on your habits, working on your routine, working on your week, working on your why, working through the weight. I'm telling you, that has ripple effects that go far and wide. I think it was Martin Luther. I think it was Martin Luther. He said, if I knew that the world were ending, I think he said like tomorrow, I would still plant a fruit tree today. That's amazing. That's a crazy concept. So that's definitely worth exploring later. How do I go from being a regular employee to a leader? Oh, that is so good. I would just say take ownership of the outcomes. Take ownership of your area and just start pulling other people into what you're doing. If you have that employee mindset, you let other people make decisions, and if you're willing to roll with that, then you can have a good life, have a good job. Leaders are dealing with people. So to make that jump, you've got to grow your people skills and start taking ownership of what you're doing, but also figure out how you're going to help other people grow in their work as well. So I think I'm kind of bumping through these last ones, but what are the life skills that everyone needs to have for the future? Man, when you find out, let me know, because that is what this whole conversation is about. That is going to take all the way from episode 35 to 50 and beyond. I think that could become a whole journey in and of itself, figuring out the life skills that everybody needs to have for the future. But sincerely, I think just off the top of my head, learning, a lifestyle of learning is going to be super important. That flexibility, that agility, learning is really important. And I think some sort of collaboration, some sort of ability to find where people are, pull together, work towards common goods. You'll never outgrow people skills. I think, creativity and problem solving are really important. And ultimately just having some grit, just having the grit to go through whatever comes next, to keep that hopeful outlook. So that would be my first stab at it. That has been really good. We are nearing our hour mark, so I'm going to land things here. I really appreciate y'all jumping on, being in this journey. I want to remind you that there is a free fail-proof planning guide waiting on you. If you have already downloaded the free fail-proof planning guide, I want to challenge you to refer it to someone you know. Tell someone about this coaching journey. Let them know they can get in as well. Join the future friends. Let's keep going, keep growing together. I will be back on Monday, and we're starting a brand new direction. It's going to be a lot of fun. And maybe you've kind of been bogging down with all of the details, all of the steps, and just working on your future isn't fun. I'm going to put the fun back in your future. I'm going to make, this lifestyle of preparation so enjoyable that you're gonna keep working on the future, not just a few days in advance, man. You're gonna be going a few years and, Lord willing, a few decades into the future. So it's gonna be a blast. Remember, you're going places, and because we believe it, we're committed to prepare to go there. Have an awesome weekend, and I will see you later.
In 1,000 feet, use the right 2 lanes to keep right.